Do you hear that ticking? 2025 is fast approaching, and you want to head into the new year with a simple business plan that's easy to keep track of and shows you exactly what you need to be doing. By the end of this video, you are going to have a simple one-page business plan that shows you exactly how many transactions you're doing, where those transactions are coming from, and how you're going to get them. All without sitting through some all-day business planning class, or worse, some 50-page workbook that you have to go through. This is the exact format I've used in my business for years now. I used to procrastinate on business planning because it was overwhelming and it just took forever. I never wanted to make the time to do it, so I had to find a better way. This is literally one page and you can handwrite it. That's how I do it. No fancy templates, nothing online, just get out a pen and paper. The first thing we're starting with is the most important out of all of these, and that's what you want to make each month. Is it 10K? Is it 15K? Is it 25K? The number really doesn't matter. What matters is that you are putting a number down. And the reason that we start there is we have to know what you are looking to take home in order to then work from there and map out a plan of how you're going to accomplish that. Now, I'm not talking gross commission, because we all know gross commission is not what actually goes into your pocket. So when you're thinking about this number, make sure that you're thinking about your net and what you will actually be taking home each month. Write that number at the top of your page, and then next to it, write what you're including with it. And by that, I mean there needs to be context around this number, because it could be very easy to say, well, I want to take home $50,000 a month. And yes, that is totally doable, but it might mean sacrifices in your personal life that you don't want to make. So for example, you could say something like, I want to take home $150,000 for the year, while also only working 35 hours a week and making sure that 2 days a week are for family time and self-care. It doesn't have to be that, but put some context around it, because business is not just about this figure that you're working from. Everything else with your life, both personally, self-care, kids, spouse, partner, pets, whatever it is, has to also work within that number. So put some context behind the number that you're writing down and write that context next to it. So now you have your monthly take-home figure, times that by 12 for the annual, very simple, and you have the context that goes with it. Then from there, I want you to think about how you're going to feel when you accomplish that goal. And I know this sounds kind of woo-woo. I used to not believe in this at all. But what happens when you attach the positive emotion that is going to come with making that goal and meeting that figure? It attaches meaning to it. It is putting that seed in your brain of, wow, this feels really good. For example, I would be writing down that I feel calm and financially secure because I have met this goal. And I also feel as though I have shown self-care to myself because I factored in time to take care of my personal needs too, not just work 80 hours a week. So now you've got the feeling attached to the figure in the context. Now we have to figure out how you're going to get there. And that step is fairly straightforward. It can be a little trickier if you're a new agent. So if you have some sales under your belt, what you're going to do is take the average of the net payout that you received from those sales and save that number. If you don't have any sales yet, don't worry. Look up the average sale price in the area that you're serving and use that as your figure. If you only have 1 or 2 sales, that's okay. Take the average net payout that you receive from those and work from that figure. This figure is what's going to allow you to calculate how many transactions you need to do to get to your desired net income. So to keep it simple for this video, I'm going to use a figure of $10,000. That's going to be the net average take home that I'm working from. So if I'm going back to my example of wanting to take home $150,000 net annually, that tells me that I need to do 15 transactions in 2025 in order to meet that figure. The most important part of this step when you're doing the math is to make sure that you're working from a net, not a gross commission, because we all know that gross commission gets chopped down when you factor in your broker fees, taxes, your business expenses. It can get cut down very quickly. So just make sure that you are always using a net figure to run these calculations. Now we're on to the next step, and that is figuring out where are these 15 transactions going to come from. Number one for all of us is going to be sphere of influence. And this is going to depend on how big your database is. If you've got history to work from to see how many closings you typically have on average from your database, great, use that figure. For my example of 15 transactions, I'm going to say that 7 are going to come from my sphere. That's very attainable even if you're a brand new agent and haven't had any transactions. The goal of this is to get you thinking about how you're going to get these 15 that you're working from. So we've got 7 taken care of with sphere of influence. How are we going to get the other 8? Now I want you to sit down and think about what your lead pillars are, because the next 8 are going to be accomplished by working through those lead pillars. For me, that's going to be Instagram and YouTube. These categories can be anything. It really depends on your business. So if open houses and TikTok are your thing, great, plug those in. It really comes down to category number 1 is always going to be sphere of influence, because that's going to be your number 1 lead source. And then from there, we're working on category 2 and 3. Those are going to be plugged in based on how your business is set up. Next step is, if we are saying that we're going to be getting 7 transactions from our sphere, we need to determine how exactly we're going to do that. Meaning, what steps are we going to be implementing into our business, or continuing if you already have a plan, in order to get those 7 transactions from your sphere of influence. Write down at least 4 activities that you are going to be doing in 2025 to earn those 7 transactions from your sphere of influence. You can do more than 4. I'm actually going to name 5 activities that I will be doing in 2025 to continue to get transactions from my sphere. First up is using Mailbox Power to send out home anniversary and birthday cards. The next thing that I'll be doing and continuing really is using Flowdesk to send out a monthly email newsletter. I also make it a point to have 1 conversation per day with someone in my sphere. This does not have to be real estate related. The goal is to make sure that you are maintaining relationships with people in your sphere. So take the pressure off. It doesn't have to be anything about real estate whatsoever. It's simply about having a conversation a day. Number 4 is similar, and that's commenting or connecting with someone on social media on a daily basis. This is so easy, and you really should be doing more than 1 person a day. I typically allot about 30 minutes to show support to people that I'm connected with on social media and personally know. Don't just give them a like or a reaction to the post. Actually take time to think of, even if it's just a sentence, commenting on their post, or maybe you see that they're going through something and sending them a message. Show that you actually care. And number 5 is very simple, but it works wonders, and that is sending out a home value update twice a year. I do this for every single client I have ever worked with. I always do a video home value update, send it via email. I've got an example of how to do this on the channel here, and I do it in the spring and the fall. It is a great way to keep in touch and provide value to your sphere. Next, we need to figure out how we're going to get 8 transactions from those other 2 categories of lead pillars that you wrote down. Same thing applies here. You need to do 4 activities daily in order to earn this business from these lead pillars. So for my examples, I'm going to be using Instagram and YouTube. Let's start with Instagram. You need to be doing 3 posts per week minimum. And this could be 2 reels and a carousel post. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty. It just means that you need to be showing up on your feed at least 3 times a week. 4 is ideal if you don't have a big following yet. Post as much as you can, but make sure it's quality. Don't just throw something up for the sake of posting, because that's not going to help you. You also want to make sure that you're showing up daily in stories. I do take Sundays off, but when you're getting started, if you can commit to showing up at least once a day in your stories, that will really help you grow your following. The other thing you always want to do is send a DM to any new followers that you get and say, hey, I noticed you followed me. I followed you back. Looking forward to connecting. That little personal touch goes a long way on social media. The other thing that you want to do on a daily basis, no worries if you're going to take Sunday or the weekend off, but comment on other people's posts. I think a lot of times people forget that it is social media. It's not all about followers. It's about being social on the platform. So take time to show other people love. Make sure that you are supporting local businesses, commenting and sharing their posts to your stories. and getting to know your general community and supporting others. It's not that you have to only comment on posts that are in your area. You can comment on other agent posts that you follow, but make sure that you are being social on the platform. Next is the activities that we are going to commit to doing for YouTube. For me, that is uploading 1 long form video per week, 2 short form videos per week, pinning a comment immediately, like as soon as I possibly can after a video goes live. I just do that for the long form videos. You want to make sure that you pin that comment, and then responding to all comments that come in. I'm gonna give a little asterisk on that. Sometimes there are some hate comments or just totally inappropriate comments. Don't respond to those, just delete them if they're really, really bad. If they're just kind of borderline, I just say thanks for commenting and keep it moving. Also, with your YouTube channel, if this is one of the categories you're focused on, make sure that you have a downloadable guide as a way to capture your subscribers' information. This should be catered to your audience and who you're speaking to. So as an example, if your channel is all about relocating to the area you serve, have a relocation guide set up in the description so that they can download it and get more information. This not only gives you a way to then put them on an email campaign because you've captured their email address, it's another way to provide value and show your expertise on the area you serve. That's it. Your business plan is completely finished now. You should have the whole page filled out. That's really all you need. This is the easy part though, because what you have to commit to doing is consistently doing these activities on a daily basis in your business. This business plan is designed to start conversations. That could be online or it could be face-to-face. The goal of real estate is relationships. That's really what real estate is about. Yes, you need to have the technical know-how and be able to negotiate, etc. But if you have no clients, then none of that really matters. So when you're getting started as a new agent, focus on having conversations on a daily basis. These activities are non-negotiables in your business, day after day, week after week in 2025. I hope this was helpful and gave you a simple business plan that you will actually use. Don't just stick it in the drawer somewhere. Keep it out so that you're looking at it daily and know exactly what you have to do in order to accomplish your goals. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And until I see you on the next one, thanks for watching.